3 members appointed to the Police Board Governance Committee. An early start to flu season as COVID cases rise as well. And more testimony at the Emergencies Act hearing in Ottawa. Good evening and thank you for joining us. 3 highly respected Indigenous leaders in Thunder Bay have been chosen to sit on a new governance committee for the Police Services Board. And the committee's first priority is to recruit a new police chief. David Paul Ashney-Penescom has been the CEO of Matawa First Nations for a total of 23 years. He'll serve a 3-year term on the governance committee. Denise Baxter has been appointed to a 2-year term. She's currently the Vice Provost of Indigenous Initiatives at Lakehead University, and Cora McGuire-Surrett has spent the past 7 years as the Executive Director of the Ontario Native Women's Association. She'll also serve for 2 years. Police Board Administrator Malcolm Mercer praises their extensive knowledge and experience. The 3 appointees will join 3 Police Board members on the Governance Committee. Besides selecting a new chief, the committee will also be responsible for developing critical policies to guide the Police Board moving forward. Safety is a growing concern among those living in social housing. That's according to the data collected through a tenant satisfaction survey from the District Social Services Administration Board. Nearly 25% of DSAB tenants say they feel unsafe in their home. That's up from 13.7% in 2018. There have been 2 murders at DSAB buildings in the last year and a half, but this survey was sent out in May before the most recent homicide at Andrus Court. Acting CAO Georgina Daniels says DSAB takes the concerns very seriously and wants all tenants to feel safe and comfortable.
We have done a significant amount of work, and we're going to continue to do that work to try and enhance the safety and security, and that they feel safe and secure. Not just that in reality they're safe and secure, but that they actually feel safe and secure in their homes, which I think would be fair for all of us.
3 main reasons tenants say they feel unsafe are drug and alcohol activity, crime, and verbal and physical harassment. Former Lakehead Public School Board Director Ian McCrae has declined to comment about the misconduct allegations against him that triggered an Ontario College of Teachers hearing. McCrae, who retired at the end of August, is accused of making dozens of insulting or inappropriate comments to board trustees and employees during his time as Director of Education. The notice of hearing details alleged interactions with 21 people associated with the Lakehead Board. Among the reports of unprofessional conduct is 1 instance of inappropriate physical contact, and McCrae is also alleged to have made negative comments about Indigenous people on at least 2 occasions. A date for the hearing hasn't yet been set. If found guilty by the Ontario College of Teachers Discipline Committee, McCrae could have his OCT certificate revoked and be fined up to $5,000. Playing catch-up after falling behind during the COVID-19 pandemic. Yesterday, Ontario's Education Minister outlined the government's next steps to help students, but not everyone agrees with the province's move. Mike Walker explains.
After the pandemic caused significant learning disruption, the province's plan to offer money to families to help cover the costs for tutoring and other support is getting mixed reaction from parents.
It helps people, especially with the people with the low income. It's very difficult to afford.
It wouldn't be enough to cover private lessons because they're about like $100, $200 an hour.
Parents of school-aged children can apply for $200 per child up to 18 and $250 per child with special education needs up to 21. However, parents don't have to provide proof of how the money will be spent.
I trust a parent to spend money on their family more than a politician, a bureaucrat, or a union leader to do so. They will put these dollars to good use. They will invest in their kids for textbooks, for technology, for after-school programming. It could be for tutoring. It could be for a variety of subjects and areas that are going to help move their kids forward.
This comes after the latest results from EQAO testing revealed 59% of students in grade 3 and less than half of grade 6 students met the provincial standard for math, and only 52% of grade 9 students met the standard, down from 75% from the tests done in 2018-2019. Advocates are skeptical the funding will help.
There's a real worry that this is a kind of political response to a problem, and the evidence there is really truly not there that this is the most effective.
A sentiment echoed by the founder of the Math Guru, who says the payment would only cover a couple of private tutoring sessions.
The prices range from $50 to $80. They're not going to fix their learning gaps in 3 sessions.
The government's plan also includes screening students for reading levels from the second year of kindergarten to grade 2. Math action teams will also be deployed to underperforming schools, and online courses will be available for grade 9 students.
The province is reporting 109 COVID-19 deaths in its weekly update. That's nearly double the number of deaths reported the previous week. The last time it was at this level was the first week of May during the 6th wave of the pandemic. The figures from the Ministry of Health on Thursday also show a new 5-month high in COVID hospitalizations. Health officials say more masking recommendations are on the way as they encourage residents to stay up to date on their vaccinations. Meanwhile, the Thunder Bay District Health Unit is concerned about an early flu season with COVID cases expected to rise. The health unit is recommending that people keep up to date with their flu and COVID vaccines to help mitigate the spread. Vasilios Bellows reports.
Flu season is upon us, with many cases already being recorded this month. The first infections usually come in early November, and this is a concern for the health unit, as flu season will tie in with an increase in COVID cases, both a result of changing behaviors as temperatures drop. Medical Officer of Health Dr. Janet DeMille says these infections will be monitored, as another spike would have a significant impact on the region.
We're going to really put a lot of pressure and cause a lot of disruption. So, in schools and workplaces. But most notably, of course, the concern is going to be in the hospitals and acute care and other healthcare. And we've already seen that, right? We've already seen and heard about the pressures in the healthcare system.
Considering the projected uptick in cases, DeMille is strongly recommending people keep up with their COVID and flu shots. She recognizes there is public frustration with the virus and vaccines, but says the new bivalent vaccine available for those 12 and up specifically will tackle the evolving and highly contagious Omicron strain.
In the studies that have been done, it shows that it has a higher antibody response with these vaccines to Omicron. And given that the next subvariants are expected to be versions of Omicron, it will give them additional protection.
And with Election Day just around the corner, DeMille provided some guidance for those looking for a safer voting experience.
Consider going at times where it may be a bit lower volumes going through. And certainly 2-meter distance and masking would be an important part, especially if it's crowded.
Vasilios Bellows, TBT News.
With just a few more days until the municipal election, there are some things Thunder Bay voters should remember if they're planning to cast their ballots in person on Monday. Polling stations will be open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day. Anyone who's unsure which polling station they're assigned to can check the T-Bay Votes website or phone City Hall. And if you didn't receive a voter information card, don't worry, you can still cast a ballot on Monday, as Returning Officer Krista Power explains.
Ask you to give us a call, 622-VOTE, or we'd ask you to come to a polling station with your ID on Monday, and we can certainly make that opportunity available for you at a polling station. One of the things I would say is that there is a list of acceptable ID on our on tbayvotes.ca. There's also opportunity as well for individuals to sign an affidavit. If they've moved and they've got a water bill or whatever it happens to be, we can connect them with a new address if that's the concern.
While the polls are set to close at 8 in the evening, anyone who's still waiting in line at a polling station by that time will still be able to vote. And a reminder to tune in right here on CKPR Thunder Bay or on tvnewswatch.com when the polls close for full election night coverage. Turning to Schreiber now, there are 4 candidates vying for the mayor's seat there, giving residents a range of options when they go to the polls on Monday. Incumbent Mayor Kevin Mullins is squaring off against local journalist Kim Krause, entrepreneur Dominic Camiso, and songwriter Adam Cherry. We asked each candidate what their priorities are for Schreiber.
You know what? We got to talk to the government about homes and housing, and I mean housing of all kinds. I'm going to say that the other issue is the Superior North EMS.
We need to adapt to our shrinking population. If it means we have to figure out better ways to deliver services or different ways to deliver services, or just look at maybe some cuts that we have to do so people aren't constantly being taxed on top of the taxes they pay because there's a shortfall in money available.
So I'm all about residual tax base. That's my catchphrase, residual tax base, long after we're gone. And there's a few industries that can do that here, and that's what I go after. Tourism, education, medical. And I think once we build the basic infrastructure, I think those would keep us going forever and a day.
I actually promise, and I will keep my promise, not to raise property taxes throughout my term as mayor. And I've talked with this in public meetings. I've talked with this at doors. I cannot promise not to raise the impact rate, but I will not raise the town rate.
Mullins was elected as a councillor in 2018 before being appointed mayor following the death of Mayor Dave Hamilton. Krause was also elected to council in 2018, but then resigned to run the Scriber Media Centre. He also ran for the Ontario Green Party. Adam Cherry has also run provincially for the Consensus Party, and this is Camisso's first run for office, having recently returned to Scriber. Prospective renters in Thunder Bay are being warned about a new apartment rental scam circulating online, requesting first and last month's payment. The fake post was spotted on a digital renting platform and brought to the attention of Red River Holdings, which owns the apartment building in question. Project manager Valina Provenzano says a woman called to double check on one of their rental units.
She was inquiring about this ad that she saw on Rent Panda, which is a platform we use to advertise our vacant units. The prospective tenant was inquiring whether the advertisement posted was the accurate unit in the building. We actually determined that we do not at this time have any vacant units located on 844 Red River Road, and that advertisement was fake.
This is a copy of the fraudulent ad, which seeks payment for a unit in Red River Towers. Provenzano says once they realized it was a scam, the company contacted Thunder Bay Police and filed a complaint. The advertising platform was contacted as well, and the ad has since been removed, but the cell number on the fake ad remains in service, and someone using that phone line is still attempting the fraud.
I'm just wondering if the unit is still available for rent, located on 844 Red River Road.
Yes, it's still available. And what's your name? Sorry.
My name is Valina, and I'm just wondering how much is it per month to rent?
It's $1,650.
Red River Holdings warns that people should always see the rental unit in person before sending any money or signing a contract. City police say while the rental scam may not be common in Thunder Bay, they have seen them before. They urge any victim who's been targeted by the scam, including property owners, to come forward and file a report. Some local school kids visited Riverside Cemetery this morning to clean the headstones of armed forces members buried there. It's a way to honor and remember them. The grade 8 students from Woodcrest School also got the chance to speak to current members of the military. Jessa Clement has the story.
The experience has become an annual tradition for the grade 8 classes at Woodcrest in the lead up to Remembrance Day and learning about its significance. Members from the Cadet Corps and the Senate of the 18th Service Battalion came by to talk to the students and answer any questions they had. Vice Chair Jim Gilbert says it's an activity that's beneficial for the kids. It gives them the chance to learn living history and take what they learned at the cemetery into the classroom. He also says sometimes the students teach them things.
Some of the knowledge for some of these students is amazing. I mean, there's a few things that they're teaching us in terms of some of World War II history. I remember the last time we were here with this very school, there was a young fellow who was telling me all about the Battle of Hong Kong. So it was actually kind of neat. I mean, there's only a couple things that he didn't know. We were able to fill that information in for him. So it was a great learning experience for both of us. That's one of the reasons why we enjoy doing it so much.
Along with cleaning the headstones and speaking to members of the military, students were also interacting with and teaching each other about the wars and veterans. Woodcrest teacher Ashley Barnwell hopes the students take away an appreciation for the sacrifices that were made for the country's freedom.
We've been learning a little bit about the Canadian Wars, especially as we get closer to Remembrance Day, just being able to recognize and honor those that fought for us. Just a really great experience. We lucked out with the weather, and again, making those connections, being able to give our leaders of the school, our grade 8s, a bit of leadership as they enter into the community a little bit more.
And many of the students said they enjoyed being able to do a good deed for the community.
I feel good to do it because, like, you don't always come out here doing good deeds like that.
I think it's really nice that we're all cleaning them.
Feels like I'm doing something that is worthwhile for my time.
It feels good. It feels good, like, helping them out. Maybe they don't have family that can do it for them.
Jessica Clement, TBT News.
Well, what a nice story. And Fiona, we heard them say that they lucked out with the weather. Yeah, not a lot of coats being worn in that video. They didn't need them today.
They certainly didn't, especially if you were closer to the south side of town. If you were closer to the marina, might have been a little bit cooler. That's because of the winds west-northwest. It was a bit gusty, up to 38 kilometers per hour. But after an overnight low of 3, we did warm up to 17 Celsius with a lot of sunshine. It was very variable skies. There were times when it was clear as a bell and others that were mostly cloudy. But all in all, a beautiful way to wrap up the week. Now, more sunshine to the west and similar very mild temperatures. Fort Frances currently at 15 Celsius. We've got 14 in Atikokan, 13 in Upsala and Kenora, 12 in Dryden. Up into Red Lake, they too are enjoying the double-digit highs. They're currently at 11 there, 12 in Sioux Lookout and Armstrong, 11 in Greenstone. It is under mostly cloudy skies at this time, and they did have some periods of brief showers today as the system moved through to the north. Now, Marathon a bit cooler at 7 Celsius at this time, and Sault Ste. Marie currently at 16. I believe they topped out around 18 or 19, so that might have made them the hot spot for the region today. Here in the city of Thunder Bay, we are expecting another mild night. In fact, we're not expected to dip below the freezing mark for the next handful of days. Tonight, being no exception, a low of 3 is expected under partly cloudy skies. And as we head into Saturday, it's still looking pretty dry around Thunder Bay. But there is a system to the west that's going to push a little bit of precipitation to areas to the west, starting overnight tonight and into tomorrow. However, so far it's looking like everything from this system is going to cruise north of Thunder Bay, but some areas may not be quite so lucky, and I'll have more details later on in the news hour.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fiona. Well, more evidence today of the turmoil within the Ottawa Police Service at the time of the so-called Freedom Convoy. We'll have the latest from the Emergencies Act hearing as your Friday News Hour continues.